Hi everyone, it's Jess, aka Colouring Bumblebee, and I'm back today with another video for you. Today, I have finally got my hands on Kerby Rosanes' newest book, Dark Fairy Tales. This is the 27th of March, the day it was released here in the UK, and I am so glad that Amazon actually delivered my pre-order on the day it was released. Because it doesn't always happen for us here, especially with mythographics. I've had terrible luck and heard other people with terrible luck for getting mythographic pre-orders on time. But I'm so glad it's here. We had to wait a few extra weeks compared to in the US, but I had to hold out for the better UK paper. I haven't flipped through it at all. I thought I would save my first real in-life impressions to flip through with you on camera. So let's go together. We have this title page, which he often does the same as the cover. And this is published by Llorona. They are a wonderful publishing company, I think based in the UK. Right, just cracking the spine there. And we have a wonderful double page spread of all these different kind of mythical looking creatures like dragons and sea serpents, a crazy elephant guy, all in these waves. I feel like once you've coloured the waves, I would even base them with water-based markers or Inktense or something like that. Once you've done the waves, all the other little elements wouldn't take too long. It'd be a satisfying one to do. This very Pinocchio looking page, I have seen flip throughs online, so I kind of know what's coming in here, but we've got this kind of wooden effect looking border to this, which I always quite like colouring sort of an ornate wooden sort of, I don't know how to describe it, but sort of emphasising the shadows of the wood texture and keeping the sort of brown colour scheme. But here we go into our very first couple of pages, and we start with Rapunzel. I absolutely adore this page in particular. Rapunzel at the top of the tower, with the prince climbing up, the witch climbing up, and she's cutting her hair off. She's not letting either of them up. And you can see the prince and the witch both falling down into the masses of hair and vines at the bottom of the tower. Much darker twist on the traditional fairy tale. Although the original fairy tale is pretty dark. Like, the prince falls down into these thorns and blinds himself, and he wanders around the forest, around the desert, until she finds him, and her tears have healing powers. So it's pretty dark to begin with. We have this one, which I am not familiar with what this is, so I'm familiar with some of them, but not all of them. This is The Red Shoes, where a German girl becomes obsessed with a pair of red shoes, wears them to church despite being forbidden to, and when she wears them again, she starts dancing uncontrollably, and she can't resist wearing the shoes. They dance uncontrollably, but the shoes grow into her legs and they cannot be removed. She dances until she passes the church where an angel tells her she will dance until there's nothing left of her. So we've got this very eerie scene of this beautiful girl dancing in the red shoes, and slowly she is turning into ash and bones, but the red shoes carry on through. I think this is quite a morbid page, but I think it would be a lot of fun to colour, playing with the colour of her dress, some nice bright contrast of the red shoes, maybe with a very muted background I see it with lots of greys and blacks and maybe a touch of blue for the sky. Then this page here we have Bluebeard, which is a wealthy man who lives in a grand castle. He lives on a trip entrusting his new wife with the keys to all of the doors in the castle, but forbids her from unlocking one in particular. Her curiosity gets the better of her, and she unlocks the door, discovering the corpses of Bluebeard's 6 former wives. When Bluebeard returns, he notices a spot of blood on the key to the forbidden room, and knows that his wife has disobeyed him. He threatens to cut off her head as punishment, but her brothers save her just in time. In Kerby's rendition, the living wife joins forces with the 6 corpse brides, and together they give Bluebeard a taste of his medicine. So this is the girl approaching Bluebeard's castle, I'm assuming, with this very ornate looking door. I think I would want to colour this with lots of gold tones, maybe a few jewel tones thrown in there. And these are all of his former brides that she can see. It looks like she's peering through the keyhole here. You can see it's small down here and it blown up here. But she joins forces with the corpse brides and captures Bluebeard in the end. A lot of detail on this page. I just think his work gets better and better with each book he creates. And I like how there's some single pages and double pages, and really nice variety. Here we have Peter Pan with Wendy and the Lost Boys, Michael and, is it Peter? I think so. And we have Peter Pan up here with him defeating Captain Hook, getting devoured by the crocodile here. I'm not sure how I would colour this, maybe kind of ghostly, with sort of pale tones, like wispy clouds almost, and have all of these faces look kind of ghostly as well. This one I can see with rich, vivid greens for the crocodile and blues for the water, and maybe like a yellow-orange for the sky to contrast it nicely. But this page looks like a lot of fun for me to colour. This I will have to look up what it is. It's 16, 17. Sinbad the Sailor from 1001 Nights. He sets out on 7 voyages, travelling the seas in pursuit of adventure, wealth and discovery. Each voyage sees Sinbad encounter different challenges. He defeats a supernatural water horse, discovers the Valley of Diamonds and escapes a man-eating giant. He breaks out from underground tomb, fights ferocious birds, builds a ship and is captured by pirates. The story shows Sinbad's bravery and perseverance as he overcomes each challenge. Kerby incorporates all of these fearsome elements into his illustration, but there is no happy ending. Tied up and hanging from the front of his ship, Sinbad is helplessly sailing into stormy seas and into the arms of many monstrous creatures. So this, the border of this is actually the border from the front cover here. So it'd be nice to colour it in 2 different styles. The fact that this, you've got a blank background, and this, you've got Sinbad being tied to the ship and all of these monstrous creatures around him. I think I would probably want to do them, colour them in different ways. Probably leave that as one of the last pages to colour in the book, just so it's not as monotonous. But this is a really interesting composition. Again, you'd base the waves, and then you've just got all of these different creatures to colour. Maybe base the background as well. And looks like it would be really fun, vivid double page spread with lots of fun colours. This one is one of my favourite pages from the book. Is this a rendition of The Little Mermaid? Perhaps? Yes, it's a rendition of The Little Mermaid, but with Kerby's darker twist. I love this sort of reflection in the water of the beautiful self and the darker self of the kind of like siren of the mermaid, and down underwater you could create a really nice contrast of a dark background with bright vivid colours for all the fish and the seaweed and the coral and whatnot, and have it contrast nicely against the darkness, because it's quite a dark tone page with her face and everything. To have that contrast of darks and brights would be really interesting, I think. And here is a double page spread for The Little Mermaid with Ariel as a human, what looks like dragging the prince into the sea to meet his doom, with all of this treasure underneath. We've got some skulls from some previous victims, lots of different mer creatures in the water. Another really interesting composition of the page. Here we have the ugly duckling, the poor little guy getting picked on by all of these birds surrounding it, but he wins out in the end and ends up what looks like killing all of these birds surrounding it. I think I'd maybe contrast this with darks and lights, have one with a dark background, one with a light background, This one with the lighter background to sort of represent the innocence of this little duckling, and dark when he overcomes his oppressors and turns into a beautiful swan. Here we have the Snow Queen, which, wow, I can see this with icy blues, some pale tone purples. We've got the Ice Queen, the Snow Queen, kidnapping this little boy and the girls going off to save her. Look at all this magic. You could play with some metallic or glitter watercolours there. So much fun, this page. I would save it for the winter season. Definitely in the spring mood now, though. I love this page. It's a very different style to the other pages in this book. There's a lot more black shading on this, but it creates a really rustic looking scene of Red Riding Hood visiting her grandma, and the grandma's giving her a dagger here because it seems that she's not the one in danger, the wolf is, as there's some sort of animal skin there. It kind of looks, could be a wolf, it could be a bear, and all these different carcasses hanging up here. But I would really have a lot of fun colouring the background and making it look very rustic, this wooden cabin. And the background takes up so much. You could even do it with ink tints and create sort of quite a natural variation in tone. And then the actual parts of the image to colour don't look as daunting when you do the large sections first, I find. Here we have Red Riding Hood again, with this scene of her fighting the wolf, and it turns out that she is victorious as she is wearing the wolf's head in this very gruesome scene with all the blood and the wolf's body on the floor there. Could have some fun pops of red here, but I like how we've got some leaves and foliage to colour in. Here it looks like we have the three little pigs, where one's kind of been trampled on by the big bad wolf. This one's breathing fire, and so is this one. They're really giving the wolf a run for its money here, as it looks like he is in the midst of destroying the house made of sticks. There's the house made of straw that's already been destroyed, and the house of bricks is looking nice and neat in the background there, but they're not letting him get away with it at all. It's got some interesting texture onto the wolf with these kind of bumps and bubbles. Not sure how I would colour that, but would be interesting when I get to it. I am unfamiliar with this one, so I'll have a look at what it is. Page 32. This is La Llorona. From Mexican folklore, La Llorona tells the story of a woman who grows jealous of her sons as her husband treats them more affectionately than her. In a fit of rage, she drowns her sons in a nearby river. Horror fills her when she realises what she's done, and she drowns herself. The woman's ghost, now called La Llorona, is condemned to wander the earth searching for her lost sons. She is identified by her wailing cries. It is said that she appears when children stay out late or to steal children from their mothers, mistaking them for her own. Kerby captures the horror, terror and grief underpinning the story in this haunting composition. So here is La Llorona, the ghostly version, with some beautiful florals on this side, and then on this side you can see she's captured these children in a sort of menacing twist to it. I think, again, having a dark background with bright, colourful florals and keeping this side quite dark in comparison to the other side to really sort of have that contrast between the two halves of the image and the two sides of La Llorona. Really interesting on that. Here we have a double page spread, which is actually done in portrait mode, which is something he's done in this book and is quite different from one of his others. Lots of grass to do here. I would definitely be basing that and then doing a little bit of shading over the top, or even just colouring it completely with ink tints. Make it a lot quicker, certainly. And this is Ibong Adarna. In this Filipino folktale, a king falls ill and believes that the enchanting song of the Adarna bird can heal him. The king's three sons embark on a quest to Mount Tabor to capture the bird. The eldest princes, Don Pedro and Don Diego, are unsuccessful. When the bird song reaches their ears, they fall asleep and turn to stone. The youngest prince, Don Juan, manages to capture the bird, but when he revives his brother, They grow jealous of Don Juan's success and throw him into a well. The older princes return home with the bird, but it refuses to sing. An old man heals Don Juan. When the young prince returns to the kingdom, the bird finally sings and the king's health is restored. Kerby leans into this dangerous elements of this story, focusing on the princess's treacherous journey and the bird's formidable power. So this is representing the three brothers on the journey to find this magical bird that will hopefully save their father. Another one I'm not quite sure of what this is, with this almost phoenix looking like creature. This is the Adventures... No. What? No. Ali Baba and the 40 Thieves. Ali Baba discovers a cave used by a band of robbers to stow their treasure. He hears the robbers say "Open Sesame" to enter the cave, and later sneaks in himself and steals some of the treasure. His wealthier brother Kasim finds out about the cave and goes to take the treasure for himself, but he forgets the magic words and is killed by the robbers. The robbers then try to kill Ali Baba, but a member of his household, Morgiana, outsmarts them and kills the leader of the thieves by performing a dance with a dagger. Ali Baba frees Morgiana and she marries his son. In Kerby's artwork, Ali Baba and Kasim reach the treasure chest only to be greeted by the haunted souls of those who have tried to steal from the cave. Morgiana performs a deadly dagger dance and summons the Falak, a mythological serpent with blade tips for teeth. So this is the Falak, I'm not sure how to pronounce that. A mythological bird with blades for teeth, and we've got all of these fallen people that came before them in the cave. Really gorgeous. I see this with lots of reds and orange tones for the bird. With, again, a dark background. I see lots of dark backgrounds for this, and keeping the bottom quite neutral so your focus is on this gorgeous bird here. Oh, and here we have more from the same fairy tale, where we've got the treasure here, and inside the treasure are the souls of all those that came before. And here we have Morgiana doing the dagger dance, which brings out this mythological monster. Hang on. This is Ali Baba. I'm getting confused. And Ibong Adarna is over 2 pages. So this is the bird that the brothers go looking for. So it's 2 double-page spreads for that one. And then this is Ali Baba and the 40 Thieves with the treasure, and then are doing the dance with the mythological creature in the background here. Some really dark pages, lots of lost souls along the way. Here we have Pinocchio, who looks really creepy. This is probably one of the creepiest things in the book, I think. What a scary face. But again, lots of wood tones. You could base the border with a brown watercolour or watercolour pencil, ink tints, and then just emphasise the shading with a darker pencil, and then that's that all done. Lots of wood tones in the main image as well, and then bring in some brighter tones, maybe on Pinocchio and Geppetto here, just to bring your attention to them. But Pinocchio here has taken over his master and decide to control him with the strings instead. A darker twist on that fairy tale. Here is another one I'm unfamiliar with. This is... oh no, I am familiar with it. This is Sleeping Beauty. So this is Maleficent taking the young baby princess and the spinning wheel in the corner there. And I'm assuming these are the fairies that help to try save them. We've got all the thorns sort of protecting this very menacing looking creature there. Greens and purples. Because it's Maleficent, I'll do greens and purples for that page. Here we have more Sleeping Beauty, it looks like. Yeah, with her in her deep slumber, with thorns and roses taking over her face, and the prince that comes to save her being attacked by all these different birds in the magical forest that Maleficent has sent to entrap him. Here here looks to be the Glass Mountain, but I'm unfamiliar with the story of... Yes, it's a Polish fairy tale where a golden castle stands at the top of a tall, steep glass mountain. A princess is held captive in the castle, and whoever manages to reach the top will marry her and inherit the castle. Knights and princes attempt and fail the climb, meeting a variety of terrible fates. The mountain is littered with broken armour, weapons and bodies. One day, a poor and courageous man attempts the climb. He encounters magical helpers and items, including a golden apple, a golden horse, and a golden armour. He uses these gifts to protect and guide him until he reaches the summit. Kerby's scene depicts the journey's unfolding horror, with deadly obstacles cropping up every step of the way. So this is him trying to reach the princess in the castle, and you can see all of these fallen victims with this gorgeous bird here. Again, I would want to bring the focus to these two elements, so keeping the rest of the image quite neutral in tone. Have fun with some sort of blue glass looking effects here. And I like how we've got this sort of faded outline of the castle reflecting on the glass mountain. Absolutely beautiful. Here we have a gruesome depiction of Cinderella with her rotting pumpkin carriage instead of the glamorous one that we're used to seeing. These undead horses as well, and her dancing at the ball. I'd like to see what is written for this one. Yeah, so at the ball, Cinderella dances not with her true love, but with death, as she will forever be at the mercy for someone else. So, yeah, much darker retelling of this story. Got loads of people in this one. It's probably a page with probably one of the most people in some of Kerby's work. So that would be interesting to give them all different coloured dresses. Have her with this beautiful gown, and Death here dancing with her, maybe in some dark blues and blacks and purples. The gorgeous golden landscape of the castle there. Here we have the Wizard of Oz with the tornado striking the house, what looks to be Dorothy watching on in the distance, and these very menacing looking Scarecrow, Tin Man and Lion here with gory faces, very gory faces. He's holding his heart there, he's spiked his brain. Very different take on the Wizard of Oz. And here again is the Wizard of Oz as a double page spread. We've got the Emerald City in the corner here, and Dorothy attacking the witch with a bucket of water and all of these winged monkeys around. It would be fun to incorporate some of the greens from the Emerald City over to this side. Some nice fields. We've got one fallen guy there. Yeah, a really sort of powerful Dorothy there. Not familiar with this one. This is... oh, it's Aladdin. I will read it anyway. Young boy Aladdin is asked by a magician to retrieve a lamp from inside a cave. The magician gives him a magic ring for his safety. When Aladdin returns with the lamp, he refuses to give it to the magician until he is safely out the cave, but the magician turns and shuts the boy and the lamp inside. Rubbing the ring, Aladdin summons a genie who helps him home. He soon discovers that the lamp contains a far stronger genie. All of Aladdin's wishes are granted. He marries the Sultan's daughter and becomes very wealthy and powerful. In Kerby's retelling, Aladdin is overcome with greed. He is surrounded by opulence and forces the genie and princess to attend to its every command. So this is the genie that's come out the lamp, and Aladdin that has summoned him with all the treasures in the Cave of Wonders. And this is Aladdin with what looks to be the genie down here. Yeah, coming up from the smoke, and the princess, which he is chained up and made to do his bidding in a much less favourable sort of retelling of this fairy tale. Is this Goldilocks and the Three Bears? I think it might be. Yes, Goldilocks and the Three Bears, where the bears are taking revenge on Goldilocks for coming into their house. I mean, if they want to take revenge on her for trespassing, they have destroyed their house in the meantime. We've got all this porridge exploding everywhere, shards of the house splintered everywhere, the table and chairs, and poor little Goldilocks down in the corner with her knife here, threatening to attack them. Yeah, different, beautiful double page spread. We have Alice in Wonderland here again. We have a portrait page where she is falling down the rabbit hole with a bunch of rabbits. And this hole is looking quite deadly. I mean, look at that Cheshire Cat's face. That is menacing. I'd play with lots of reds for the playing cards, blues for the dress. Keep the bunnies quite neutral. Not sure what I would do for the background. Not sure yet. But I love these two pages. We have the Queen of Hearts here with this menacing looking crown with the dragon on top and all the guards. And we have the Mad Hatter here, who has chained up Alice at the tea party, with them all wearing these menacing looking masks. Really sort of sinister scene that one is. Here we have Snow White and Rose Red, who help a bear by taking them into their home, and it looks as though they take charge of the bear to defeat this goblin, which is sort of trapping them from not letting them into the forest. It's a fun fairy tale, and I think this page would be gorgeous to colour. Love that one. The two girls. Here we have the Pied Piper of Hamelin, where he's summoning the rats as well as the children here. He's got it looks like he's got boils on his face, like he's got some sort of disease or something. But these children with their wide eyes, entranced by the Piper's tunes. Not sure how I would colour this. I would need to see some renditions of it before I could come up with something myself, I think. Here we have the Nutcracker, with the girl being given the Nutcracker doll for Christmas, and this very ghostly looking Christmas tree, which is kind of dying and decaying with all the skull ornaments on it. And in this version, the Nutcracker takes control of the girl and somehow becomes huge compared to this scene here. But I'd see this with loads of fun colours, bright greens, bright reds, blues, golds, all sorts of bright colours. Oh, what is this? Oh, this is... I thought we just... Yes, this is the Nutcracker and the Mouse King. So in her dreams, the Nutcracker... she dreams of the mouse, the seven-headed Mouse King? And then the Nutcracker ends up saving her in the dreams and gives her these 7 crowns to prove that she killed it. But I hate rats, so I wouldn't I wouldn't colour them like rats. I'd probably colour them in a white tone because I prefer that to... I hate rats. So not a page I think I'd be colouring quickly after I get this book. This is Rumpelstiltskin, where he has entangled this woman up in all of this gold thread that he has spun from hay. But she takes control and has engulfed him in flames, it looks like. I'd have a lot of fun with playing with fire, lots of reds and oranges and yellows on this page. And this one I'd really emphasise the gold of the thread, maybe even with a metallic paint. Here we have Beauty and the Beast with the prince on this side and the beast on the next side, with this background of all different objects from inside the castle which look like they're decaying, they're dying, alongside the beast who's losing hope. Interesting page. And is this Beauty and the Beast as well? I believe it is. I'll double check. Hang on. This isn't Beauty and the Beast. This is Beauty and the Beast, but this isn't. This is, let me go back to it, The Boy Who Had an Eating Match with a Troll. In this Norwegian fairy tale, a boy encounters a troll in the forest. The troll threatens to kill the boy unless he proves himself to be clever. So the boy proposes an eating competition. First, the boy takes a piece of cheese, pretending it's a stone. He squeezes the whey from the cheese to make it look like he's squeezing water from the stone. The troll attempts to replicate the action but fails. The boy continues to outwit the troll with his clever tricks, including stuffing his bag up his shirt to imply that he can eat endlessly. The troll eventually admits defeat and the boy returns safely home. Kerby's composition at a glance seems to juxtapose the human and the supernatural elements of the story, but on closer inspection, it is evident that violence exists within both humans and monsters alike. So that is this story. This isn't... I thought it was like half of the prince, half the beast. I mean, I suppose you could interpret it like that, but it's the boy who had an eating match with the troll, so kind of greens on this side, more natural colours on this side, bringing the two elements together in the background. Then this is Beauty and the Beast, where the beauty is winning the battle against the beast with, it looks like the prince is sort of coming out of, or is that the witch casting its spell? Yeah, so this is the witch, I believe, casting the spell, where we have the prince here, and out from being drawn within him is this beast creature. And this is Beauty's father, who gets trapped in the castle by the beast, and in return his daughter exchanges her life for his and is trapped in the castle, hoping that she would fall in love with him. But we've got some fun roses here to colour, lots of greenery, with this sort of menacing scene here. And here we have, it looks to be Belle breaking out from the beast. Yes. So this is Belle in a library with all these kind of crazy monkeys, it looks like. And she has defeated the beast. She's holding the beast's head above it and is standing on his body. So a very, very gruesome retelling of the story. This is the little matchstick girl, where a poor young girl wanders the streets barefoot on a cold New Year's Eve, trying to sell matches to passers-by. Desperate to stay warm, she lights a match to warm herself. In the match's flame, she sees a vision, a warm stove. She lights a second match and sees a table laden with Christmas treats, and a third match shows a beautiful Christmas tree. Lighting a fourth match, she sees her kind grandmother, who has passed away. She continues lighting the matches to keep the vision of her grandmother alive. Her grandmother hugs her, and she feels less cold and alone. The next morning, the girl is found frozen to death, with a smile on her face and burnt-out matches scattered around her. Kerby captures the longing of the girl and the shadowy darkness that will envelop her in death. So a very dark fairy tale to begin with, but you see the Christmas tree here. You see her grandmother that is being lit up by the match, and you see death about to take this young girl's life away. Very sad story, and a dark interpretation of it as well. This is, I'm not sure what this is. Puss in Boots. So this is Puss in Boots. I don't see where his boots are. Here are his boots. But the story of Puss in Boots has him tricking all these different people into believing that his master is really the sort of owner of a castle and land. But in this retelling, what does it say? Kerby pulls out the dark themes of trickery and control that underpin this story, with the crafty Puss in Boots playing with the characters like a ball of string. So that's what he's doing. It's like a ball of string connecting all of these characters that are involved in the story. Very, very cool. He's a menacing looking guy, that. Here we have Hansel and Gretel with this, what looks to be gorgeous gingerbread house here, but in reality it is a horrible, decrepit, haunted, witchy house. And inside we have Hansel and Gretel taking over the witch, stuffing her face and shoving her into the pot to boil. You can have fun with dark tones and bright pastel-y colours even for the candy house here. Fun contrast of images there. Here we have Jack and the Beanstalk. Which way does it go? This way? Yeah, where we have the beanstalk going up and the giant that lives at the top, with Jack being looked at as the giant has taken control of the beanstalk there. So much greenery here. I would definitely be doing basing. And then clouds. This would take quite some time to colour all those leaves, and I'm sure you'd be sick of it at the end, but it would create a really cool looking finished piece. And that is it. That is it. This is the same page from the Snow White and Rose Red one, which is unusual for Kerby. Usually he'll put something different at the front and back that kind of incorporates themes throughout the book. So here we have the same border as we do here. But in this one he has simplified it by taking borders of pre-existing images. And we have some smaller ones here throughout the index page where I read out a few of the fairy tales that I was unfamiliar with, but there are descriptions on each of the fairy tales in this book. And there we have it. That is Kerby Rosanes' newest book, Dark Fairy Tales. I know this book isn't for everyone. I was a bit unsure whether it would be for me, but I think it's just hitting that right spot for me in terms of how much sort of gore and darkness I can take for a colouring book before it becomes too much. And with Kerby's artwork, I love everything that he creates, and especially his newer works where there's none of those doodles and hidden objects. I just think he creates the most stunning looking pages. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I would love to hear what you think of this book. Have you got it already? Are you planning on getting it? Is it not for you? Fair enough if it isn't. I do understand. But thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye everyone.